Hello. I'd like to just amplify some remarks I've made about not just Siddharth Varadarajan, the editor of The Wire, but also Patanjali Varadarajan, who at a certain point, under the wing of Rupert Murdoch, he was doing very well in journalism in America. Just as Siddharth, as editor of the Hindu magazine, of Enron. He was at one time a very eminent man in Indian journalism. And I want to, and there have been some articles about the two Vadarajans, and I want to add my company worth by talking about my own personal meeting with both of them. And this is when, you see, I was 16 when I got 3 A's at A level, to the surprise of my parents who thought I was an idiot. And I got into the LAC. And so for the first year of my LSA, I remained at home because my father was posted in India, in London, and he was the press counselor at the Indian High Commission. Now, at the time, the diaspora was so important to India, contrary to what people say, that I think perhaps maybe because of N.G. Gore, but definitely what I can remember is that my father was editing basically a periodical of the Indian High Commission for the Asian community, and we were also subsidizing, Garvi Gujarat and Mr. Basu's. India was subsidizing all these diaspora publications. Some of them Bengali, some of them Gujarati, some of them. I don't know why we were doing that. It was stupid. It was a waste of money. But Dad was really happy because he started off as a journalist before getting into the Indian Information Service and becoming a diplomat. The Indian Information Service, external publicity division. So it should have been like the British Council, but there was a Nehruvian uh, kind of innovation which didn't really take off. Nehru also had the idea of creating a technocratic engineering, scientific Indian scientific service or something like that. But I strangled it. So, and I've written about this comedy in my book, Whiskey's Secret, which is about the events of 1984, including the Sikh pogrom, and it's available on Amazon. Anyway, a few years before that, I think it was 19. I remember actually it was 1980 when actually I remember that Varadarajan, the father Muthusamy Varadarajan, who had a long beard, actually, oh my God, even longer than mine. But he was a very handsome man, and he had a longer beard, and he had a very beautiful wife, very smart, and they invited me to dinner to meet their sons because I was 17, 16, 17, and I was doing well. Um, so and I'm an year, they're a years. So and I remember that Patanjali is a little bit short, but he's good looking, and Siddharth was taller than me. He's well built. Both of them from Mayo College, and oh yes, actually before that, I already knew them. Now I remember that Varadarajan had called me and he had said, "Look, please talk to my son. That he wants to, that, his mom is saying she wants him to go to the Dulwich College. It's a good college. It's, um, where P.G. Woodhouse, Raymond Chandler, it's a very good school. There's nothing wrong with it. And actually, to be frank, uh, uh, a smart, Patanjali, both Patanjali and Siddharth, they were from Mayo College. They're very smart. If they sat uh, some scholarship exams, they'd have got scholarships. But Varadarajan was from the IAS, UP cadre, very very corrupt bastards. And the mother was saying, "No, no, you send him. I don't care. You send him. You spend the money, you bastard." I don't. I don't. And so he had enrolled me that, look, please tell him that, you went to grammar school and you got 3 A's. And I did. And, Patanjali was very, very contemptuous of me. Tunku is his name. Very contemptuous of me because, A, his father was IAS and my father was not. My father was not IFS. He was Indian Information Service External Publicity Division, much lower. In fact, my father was so happy when my sister got into IFS. Then he felt, oh, all these years of my humiliation have been reversed. But of course, my sister treated him like shit because he was not IFS. This is, it's so funny. It was so funny. I mean, it was tragic for him. Then, Daddy is saying, oh, she won't let me come. I mean, my mom was okay because my mom's father was a MLA. He was a friend of, he was my mom's mom. She was a Tamil novelist. His dad was, his father was from railway service, Bombay. Chi, 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 chi. Chi, 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 chi. Anyway, but of course, I made my own way because, you know, I actually married a girl who's from Italy and whose family knew Sonia Gandhi's family. So if I wanted to, I could have ruled the roost back home. You see, extraordinary situation where people would phone me. I mean, they wouldn't phone my dad and say, "Can you get me my passport? Can you do this?" And I do it. Dad couldn't do shit. I remember my friend Abdul Qadir Kazi. He came to see me. Brought me a bottle of diplomat whiskey along with his beautiful wife. And his father was an IT income tax commissioner, and he was Muslim, from a very good Maharashtrian family. Why the hell did he come to a guy who's like 20, 21? Yeah, I owed him, but it's crazy, you know. But I immediately pulled the strings. I mean, my dad immediately he fell into line. But who was the guy who got the passport in one day? In one day, that these guys come, they get their passport same day. It was Mr. Garg, RSS man. But he knew us from before, and he knew exactly who I was married to and all that. But my parents were very happy, and my father was right. He said, "Look, please, we're service family. If you stay in Delhi, bottom line is, you're going to supersede the people who come in through the competitive services because of your family, of your connection, marriage connection, and your youth congress connection. And we don't do that. Look, fuck off to England and just drink whiskey there. Don't expect India to supply you the whiskey so that you can fuck up the economy, you stupid bastard." He didn't say that. He just said, "Look, in our family, we've never done this. You know, so you can get a job. Would you like a job?" "No, no, Daddy, I don't want a job." He's trying to get me PTI job to go to bloody Punjab where they would shoot me. The moment they look at me, they'll bloody shoot me because I'm a huge, big, fat Hindu. I'm joking, but no, I'm not. Seriously, but I did get my own job. But, let's face it, uh, you've got to be smart to do well in India, and I'm not smart. Uh, you know, it's like I knew the game theory of Shapley, uh, the solution, the game theoretic solution to most bargaining problems has to do with calculating the Shapley values, right? And I remember I was talking to some nice chap about Shapley values. He's from DSE, from Delhi School of Economics, and he knew the concept. And then तो उन्होंने मुझे he said to me in Hindi कि भाई, if you go to the Nai, the barber in a village, he will tell you what he can calculate the Shapley values. It's non-deterministic. It's impredicative. It's non-deterministic. He can calculate. He will tell you the Shapley values as he's cutting your hair. And I remember Ajka MLA. There's a film where Rajesh Khanna was, or if I can remember correctly, that Naita, he was a person who could give you shave while you're sleeping so that you don't even feel you're being shaved. So they say, hey, you become MLA. But the Nai, and, in our culture, Hindu culture, the Nai, the Baba, is called, even he's called, the title is given of like chief minister or the advisor to the king. So, because he has all the information. So then I realized I don't know British Shapley values. In fact, I'm rubbish at maths. I, I'd better just go off and clean toilets in Heathrow because I'm not smart enough. And anyway, but after all, one thing is that I'm Hindu. And if my father says you can't rise through in this manner, okay, then go and drink whiskey and clean toilets. That's what I've done. Or teach or whatever, doesn't matter. So I was born outside the country, so I'm not Brahmin. Brahmin, Acharya Brasht, Brahmin Bandhu. But I am a Hindu. I believe in God. I have faith. Anyway, returning to Siddharth and Patanjali, both of whom don't. Siddharth was, of course, the communist, and he attended LSE. He didn't go to private school, but then he became an American citizen, or he was already American citizen. But anyway, that's what he is. So it's a rather bizarre situation where Siddharth returns to India as a communist missionary, and he says, I don't know what is a kurmi, but his daddy is from UP kid. He went to Mayo. If I knew what a kurmi was, how would he not know? You know, it was Jag Soraya who made this comment. But it's that kind of, that became a recommendation for him to become editor of Hindu in the South. Hindus published from Madras. It's like, oh, right. Even though you went to Mayo, you're a Hindi speaker, your father's IAS, UP, you know, come on, these guys speak way better, I mean, Hindi than I do, definitely, because I went to St. Columba in Delhi. I'm not kidding. Back then, you could go to, the whole point about going to St. Columba is you should not be able to speak good Hindi at all. You should not be able to speak Hindi. That is the, uh, otherwise people will say, नहीं नहीं भाई, you didn't go to St. Columba. तू हिंदी बोल रहे हो? You're lying. So, it's like, anyway. But unfortunately, in London, you have to learn to speak Hindi. Otherwise, you can't get your tandoori roti, Romali roti the way that you like it. So, but uh, the Siddharth and uh, and Patanjali. First, it was Patanjali that he basically wrote an anti-India book about Kashmir, which is easy to do. You can easily write anti-Pakistan book about Kashmir. You can easily write anti Islam book or anti this book or that book. But it was enough for Rupert Murdoch, who at the time was recruiting the sons of very senior uh, IAS or IFS, or in the case of Ajay Singh Bedi, very senior RAW IPS officer. He's recruiting these guys because of his, he's launching his own operation in that region. And the fact is that bottom line is, Ajay Singh Bedi was a good orator. He rose in, good enough. And Siddharth Varadajan, good enough. अंग्रेजी तो ठीक है, मैथमेटिक्स गणित तो ठीक है, up to a point. But also, don't forget that they come from that milieu of sycophancy and intrigue. They're not very good. Now, Tunku, Patanjali, after all, he could have, as he told me, he said, look, I want to go to private school, I want to go to Dulwich, I want to go to Oxbridge, and I want to make a lot of money as a barrister. But he didn't. The whole point of getting the law lectureship is that it's your first step to something more. And I remember I went to LSE with a girl who's the daughter of a TV presenter, Call on the BBC. Sorry, Kashmiri Brahmin. And but when I looked her up, she's one of the top earning barristers in the UK. But Patanjali did not become a top earning barrister in the UK, in which case he would have also been able to get into the cabinet and, do something. Or in America, he's just a professor of worthless shit. And he's got the professorship on the basis of being kicked off the WSJ, the Wall Street Journal. That, in other words, he crossed Murdoch and he was pumped and dumped. Now, Ajay Singh Bedi was not pumped and dumped because he's an orator, he stuck to his brief and not very, he wasn't smart when I knew him. Maybe he's become smart now, could be. But, it's good enough. Now, turning to Siddharth, what on earth has he done? And the answer is when he, as editor of Hindu, come on, Hindu had that reputation of blowing the whistle on Bofors, though Enram, the owner, he put the kibosh on that. But it was, after all, a Tam lady who had been instrumental up in Geneva to expose Bofors, which brought down Rajiv. So come on, we were thinking that this communist Siddharth from LSC, he's smart, he's got beautiful a wife, smart lady, quite left wing. Will he do something? He did shit. All you had was not views, not news, but views. And those views became progressively more and more facile, puerile, paranoid. So he was kicked off a Hindu, then he was subsidized to create Wire. And Wire is just shit. This is a completely, there are actually quite good articles, some of the time. But he will neither protect his own people. Look at Sharjeel. Sharjeel was contributing to Wire. Nor will he actually do any elithic. There's no scoops. There's no elithic investigation. Instead, you have crazy stuff like saying that, Meta, that means Facebook, is using some magic algorithm. What is that magic algorithm? And in fact, there can't be such a thing. It was just an invention. It was, it's the kind of thing which any decent editor should be able to screen out that, look, this is mad, you know. So they have got zero, but maybe Omidyar and the other people who finance the wire, probably Adani is financing it. Think about it. Think about it. If you have crazy nonsense, um, who does it help? It helps the people whom the crazy nutters attack. That's whom it helps because of cognitive dissonance. You have such a low regard for, and it's a free, wire is free, I have to pay money to see Times of India or Indian Express, but wire is free. Scroll is free. And I feel contempt. I feel cognitive dissonance. If the Vadarajans are against something, it must be good for the country. Both of them are anti-national. But I can understand why. It's because they're Tambrans. Tamil Brahmins have been regarded in their own birthplace as the worst, like vipers or as termites or as parasites. For something to be Sanatan Dharma must be exterminated. कीड़ा मकोड़े जैसे आपको इन चीजों को you have to bring the exterminator. But for me, it doesn't affect me because I was born in Germany. I don't give a shit. But for them, it does because after all, even for me, well, I can say that my Kuladevam is there in Purni, which is true. But then a lot of Malaysian and so on, we have our. I'm not really located. I don't have Tamil identity. I don't speak Tamil. But I think for them it did harm them. They felt if our own desh repudiates us, if our nada repudiates us, then we must be anti-national. We can't belong to India. The oikiosis is a Greek word which means the circles of belonging. You start by belonging to a family. If your family rejects you, you may become anti-national. You can become anti your community. They belong to their family. But their particular, the Tamil Brahmins have been repudiated in Tamil Nadu. You get out. They don't say that to me because they don't care. They may say, Ayer. I say, yeah. Say, Palghat. I say, no. Delhi. London, Ayer. No problem. Nobody cares. Anyway, it is a pity that these two, they've done well for themselves through journalism, and now Patanjali has done less well. He should have stuck to law and become rich, but maybe he was stupid. The same point could be made about Siddharth. They don't really have a structural causal model. They're stupid. But so am I. Now, I haven't achieved anything at all. But the difference is that at least I haven't been anti-national. This is because I'm a British national. And British nationals, Britain's ancient policy was to have a strong and economically defensible, well defended, well secure, and economically strong India. And this is policy of Rishi Sunak, my prime minister. Shonak Rishi, who's, do the math. Okay, thank you.